So this is a public service announcement. I want to say that I think many of us have hit the wall with the twin flame tag, and we've hit the wall with these terms. We're kind of exhausted by it. It's been beaten down like a dead horse. And the terms many of us are choosing is beloved and eternal consort. Let them try to bastardize that. Because to be honest with you, those are ancient terms. It's what Mary and Magdalena are to each other, eternal consorts. It's what Krishna and Radha are, eternal consorts. It's what is Shiva and Shakti, Isis, Osiris. They're eternal consorts. There's a depth, a bond, a love, a knowing, a triggering every time we incarnate into these new bodies. Various ages, various cultures, continents, countries. And we just know. And across timelines, we find each other again and again and again. We find each other every time. And sometimes we take on the mission of an incarnation, and we have in 3D without each other, helping each other on the other side of the veils. Sometimes it's a whole incarnation without meeting each other in 3D. And sometimes it's an incarnation in 3D, and then death. Death comes and separates us in the illusion of separation, and the twin on the of separation, and the twin on the other come to our final destination. And if you are the advanced twin and your twin has died before you, you will be helping them on the other side, believe it or not, as well. You will. While they shed the 3D samskaras, the toxic personality, the role, the actor they played on the stage of this 3D world. If you are advanced, you will help them strip those garments away one by one, shedding them like old, worn-out clothes. No longer a match. Never was a match to their true soul. In fact, for some of you, this is a truth. You loved and recognized their soul and had a hard time with the personality of the avatar they embodied. This personality that was a template to 3D, to toxic patriarchy or matriarchy, depending on who you are. The things they had to do to survive in this template of 3D, the personalities they had to develop, the coldness, the harshness, the cynical attitude, the nonchalance that was fake, the depression they hid from themselves and from the world, whatever the hell it was, you always saw who they were, who they really were. You went past those filtering systems, and instantly what you loved wasn't them as they were, but, you know, in this life, but who they truly, truly were, are, have always been. The essence of their soul, the purity. And that is something that I think our beloveds, our eternal consorts, will eventually figure out in this life or the next. And that's why when I first went through my final separation before we came into final union in this planet, my battle cry to myself, to him, was, in this life or the next, I surrender. And that's where I found this neutral place of power called transcendentist, meaning I became transcendental. I didn't hold on and desire to a place of fever that I couldn't live without him, couldn't breathe, couldn't be without him. I had to and wanted to. be enough unto myself. Even though it hurt. It hurt, but it did not destroy me. And many of us understand this, actually. It's almost like the final dark night of the soul that you think is going to take you out. I mean, completely fucking take you out. And you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been through a dark night of the soul caused by your twin. Not caused by the environment, the infrastructure, loss of job, death of a parent, whatever, or death of a pet. I'm talking about the one dark night of the soul that launches you, catapults you to fucking hell. And you're walking through hell barefoot on broken glass. And you're not sure if you're going to come out of it. But once you do, you're forged into a flame of such power that this is the place where you become transcendental. This is the place where you no longer have to hang on. This is a place where you can stand in witness to the separation. This is the place where you turn around, you pivot 180, and you start working diligently with passion and urgency on whatever you call your mission. It's quite interesting. So, this is something that I want you to understand. This is a place that you will come to if you're not there yet. You will come to it, and it will surprise you because your soul has taken control. You know what I'm saying? It's really interesting. If you've ever done the eye gazing exercise that I have on my TikTok, it's under guided meditations, and it's eye gazing. And at around 8 minutes, the ego literally steps aside. You're looking into your eyes in a mirror, and not both eyes, probably one, either the left or the right, or you're going back and forth, right? You're toggling, because no one can focus completely into their own eyes in a mirror. You'll find that to be true. But anyway, and for a moment, for about 8 minutes, you're still looking at your soul. You're still, not your soul, but your egoic framework. You're looking at your personality. You're looking at who you are in this incarnation, Mary, Jane, Tom, whatever. And then suddenly, I've noticed it's about 8 minutes. Could be sooner for you, could be a tad more. Boom, there it goes. The veils part, and you're looking at your soul, and your soul is calm, never exhausted, transcendental, sober, staring back at you as a witness, detached, utterly detached, unafraid. All the emotions of the human experience are wiped. They're not there. There's no panic. There's no what ifs. There's no, oh my God, I can't do this without him. None of that is there. It's a witness. And this witness is kind and calm and infinitely patient. And so when that happens, when you become transcendental to your twin flame and their shenanigans of cheating, addiction, lying, fucking around, promising you shit that'll never come, afraid, picking another woman. I'm going to stay on the eternal consort that is the feminine. I'm going to stay there because I don't have that many men anyway watching. But when that happens, okay, you become so fractured for a moment. It's almost like you explode into shards of quartz crystal, and it's literally exploded out into around you. You know what I mean? Maybe hundreds of miles out, and then suddenly, like a vortex, it comes back and you're reformed into the flame of power. And suddenly something happens to you that shocks you. You don't need to make love to your twin anymore, to your beloved, to your eternal consorts, because you're patient. You don't need to feel his arms around you anymore. You'd love that. You need him but you don't really need him anymore to breathe, to work, to be, to thrive, and to do what you were born to do. You don't need him to do it. Because you've become transcendental. And because your flag of truth is in this life or the next. In this life or the next. I surrender. And nothing will destroy me. Not you. Not this planet. I will do what I was born to do. And I'll see you on the flip side of the fucking sun. And it's not even anger. There's none of that. It's a calmness. It's a soberness. It's a power that will shock you. You might cry in gratitude and awe. Shock and awe. When that happens. And the irony, that energy, I'm telling you, that energy flips the switch on something to the opposing twin that's running from you, denying you, and fucking with you. Again, fuck that term twin. Fuck it. They've beaten the shit out of it. They've shoved it up our asses, and they've made us weak because of that term. That term goes in the trash with every term that's been ostracizing the people who know what that soul bond from the ages really means. And before this planet existed, we were birthed. We were made by an infinite source of power, which many of us call God, Allah. And that is good. But ultimately, what will happen, okay, as you go through this metamorphosis, I mean, honestly, the symbol for you, the symbol for us who understand this eternal bond is the butterfly, the moth, and the phoenix. Transformation, baptism by fire. Painful transformation, like the butterfly and the chrysalis, going through a pause, a hermit stage of shedding everything that was to become everything you were born to be. It's quite interesting. And to understand this within yourself, and to understand that you're not alone in this journey, and that you will be in eternal union at some point. Okay? It will happen. It will happen. And then, though in 3D you may be in separation for whatever reason, it's an illusion. And I'm not saying that as a spiritualist trying to sell you a bucket of shit and telling you it's gold. I'm telling you that's true. And I'm telling you that because even though my twin, after coming into the final bond, the bonding ceremony, right? Of seeing each other, of him accepting what this was, finally capitulating, kneeling in obeisances to this flame of love that we've had throughout the eons, and how this infrastructure separated us again and again for different reasons. Society's norms, duties of families, money, land, wars, whatever separated, disease. That we were always, and nothing will ever separate us. That these separations that we've endured were always illusions. And once you know that, no one can fuck with you ever again. And so as he slipped out of this 3D body that was really an energy of, it was a very cemented 3D template that was difficult to shed the final shreds of what that prison meant in a spiritual truth, meaning there was too much collision of monkey thoughts, monkey mind thoughts. And so the body had to lose its power one by one. The ability to walk, the ability to feed oneself, the ability to fucking take a shower, the ability, all of these things were stripped away. And I don't wish that for anyone who's a masculine, who's basically an asshole. Sorry. Where you think that to be a man means to fuck what you want. When you think that to be a man is to chase money and to think that money is power. When actually power is self-mastery. Power is like a Merlin, a magician, to actually overcome and manifest what you need in this dense planet. That's power. I mean, look at the men who have power. Look at the men who really have billions. They're all weak-jawed, weak-eyed. They're weak. And my question to the masculine, is that what you want to be? Weak? Because it weakens you. A real man doesn't need coin. He needs to be the master of himself and the master of his realm. What is his realm? Where he lives. A protector to his family, and to give homage. And I'm going to say it, yeah, homage, respect, love, loyalty, devotion to his eternal consort, his feminine counterpart. That's mastery. And people don't know what power is anymore. We've been sold bank accounts, gold bars as power. And it's funny how when we do see men from the East cross-legged in their robes, we see power. We think of them as powerful. Isn't that interesting? And if you compare a billionaire to one of these men that has done the work, the spiritual work, who's a true shaman, a true yogi, if you sat them next to each other and I asked you which one is powerful, you wouldn't pick the billionaire. So my fine, young, masculine, what are you doing? What are you really doing? What are you chasing? You're chasing illusions. You're chasing what Buddha did in the 40 nights out in the wilderness when demonic forces tried to lure him to think that what he desired was beautiful, the most beautiful women in the world, the most beautiful women ever created. And he rejected this. And when he was asked, would you like all this? Would you like a realm, a kingdom? He'd already walked away from a kingdom to become the Buddha. And he said, no. Who does that sound now? Yeah, Yeshua did the same thing. No, I don't want women. I have one. I have my eternal consort. I don't want women. I don't want money. I don't want to be a king on this planet. I want the people of this planet to stop suffering. He wore robes. He was lucky to wear sandals. He was poor, and yet he is still 2,000 years later a powerful voice. Whether you believe the existence of this man or not, the point is it's a symbol of what power looks like in the masculine. I'm not saying to be poor, but I'm saying stop chasing fucking illusions. And that's what's a problem for the divine feminine, is that she knows what matters. Every eternal consort of the feminine that I've ever met wants your loyalty, your devotion. She wants to feel safe. She wants to know she's not competing for anything, not money, not status, and not pussy. Sorry. That's pretty much it. And until these eternal consorts, these beloveds can recognize, this is why the term eternal consort has much more power to even say it out loud, eternal consort. Now, twin flame, fuck twin flame, fuck that term. I use it, and I've been using it for a while, as you know, to make sure people understood what we were talking about. But you know what? I'm not interested in people who are still fucking chasing the twin flame tagline, because I'm realizing they want the Ken and Barbie story. They want this happily ever after. They want the Cinderella story, and this is not what this is not a fucking fairy tale, man. This is maybe 13,000 years of incarnations after Atlantis fell, us forgetting who we were, literally like monkeys, like our brains, our fucking monkey brains, controlling us lifetime after lifetime, and not choosing our own spiritual sovereignty. Because religion put its boot over our third eye, over our literally put its boot over our root chakra, literally, to bury us alive in ignorance. And the journey has been absolutely harrowing. And this is the last cycle of incarnation in 3D for many of us. Not because we're better human beings, not because, but because we remember who we are. Do you get that? And we're mastering the art of forgiveness, self-forgiveness and forgiveness of other things. Because not forgiving, resenting, cheering the art of forgiveness, self-forgiveness and forgiveness of other things. Because not forgiving, resenting, choosing that your twin gets hurt and sees their karma, all that shit, yeah, that'll keep you chained to this fucking 3D planet. And until it's in 5D, you'll be chained in 3D. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to master forgiveness for yourself and for others. And to realize that your twin is fucked. Your eternal consort is fucked if they are still playing out the game of 3D. They're fucked. There's no other way to put it. They will be lost, and your job is not to stay behind, and your job is not to reincarnate in 3D again, like the Little Mermaid, right? Coming back, lowering her frequency to try to show her value to the prince. That's not your job. Not because you're hateful, but because you can do more on the other side to bring the awakening, the great awakening to your twin, regardless if they're married in the next incarnation with another woman and they have a whole set of children and grandchildren. It's an illusion. Even what we've experienced here is an illusion. It's a dream. It's the great collective dream. We've all agreed to it. And so in Thanksgiving, we should thank the planet and the universe for our awakening. We should thank it. It's been very painful. The price of being awake is fucking painful as hell. And the irony is, even though we are awake, we think we're awake, right? We are awake on many levels. We're still not fully, I think they just showed me 1/4 of our brain, 1/4 of our actuality is awakened. We have 3/4 still asleep. 3/4 in delusion, illusion. We still regret. We still have what ifs moments. We still wonder. We still want to control our future, which we can to some extent. But mastering the self is the gift that you can give your eternal consort remotely. What you feed your consciousness, you feed your eternal consort remotely. And so I think for me anyway, when I do videos like little whatever, I'm going to try to stay away from the tag TF, Twin Flame, Twin Ray, because it's been so bastardized. It is such a fucked up term now that I want nothing to, just like I don't want anything to do with the New Age movement. I just don't want it because it's just too much. It's been dirtied. It's kind of like somebody robbing your house and you feel dirty even though the act is finally over. Or I don't know if you ever had that, but I remember me and the father of my son, we were like 31. We just bought a truck, a little truck. It was it was the 80s. It was a cheap little fucking dumpy truck. And it was stolen. It was stolen, and we didn't get it for like 10, 20 days. And then suddenly they found it somewhere, God knows where. And we got it back, believe it or not. And my beloved at the time My sweetheart, my high-level soulmate, and I looked at each other going, I feel dirty. Like, I didn't even want to drive in that shit. And he sold it. I swear to God, we were like, yeah, we don't want it anymore. It felt like the energy of these people were still there. We didn't want it anymore. You know what I mean? And that's how these terms feel to me. They've been polluted. They mean nothing to me. And you'll see me making some changes. And those of you who understand, who intuitively know what I mean when I say eternal consort, my beloved, my eternal beloved, those of you will understand me and know what I'm talking about. And then some of you won't. And I'm not concerned by those of you who won't, because I'm not sure. I've done so many videos on this journey. So many, you have no idea. Like, I have something like about the ascension, star seeds, read books to you guys. I have like, I don't know, what is it, 197 or 87 videos on YouTube. God knows how many videos I have on TikTok. Probably not as many as that. But what I will say is, how many ways can you say that the bond is real, that it began before we were ever incarnated on this planet, and that there's a reason why we were in separation. It was done through nefarious means. It was done to control us, to subjugate us, to put us in chains. We were enslaved. And my question to the bastardization and the annihilation of the term twin flame, why are twin flames so dangerous? Why are eternal consorts so dangerous? Why are the sacred unions so dangerous? That was one of my questions. And so I started excavating Mary Magdalene and Yeshua to find out exactly what was the agenda. Why were we dangerous to the Catholic Church and to the Abrahamic branches of religions? Why? I'm tired of TF thing. I'm a human being. I just want to be nobody and watch the show. To be honest with you, I don't even want to watch the show. To be honest, I'd rather just be in other realms of joy. I'd rather be walking beside my eternal consort and then building shit, building, communities, teaching, watching the young ones grow, watching souls being healed, planets created, creatures, sentient beings, creatures created. Some of the things that Michael Newton talks about from the LBL sessions he had with his clients are absolutely beautiful, and they are a memory. Some of it resonates so deeply in my soul that I was in shock. That's why I took his training as above to Dolores Cannon. Dolores Cannon felt more like a big entertainment. I love how the quantum healing is every time you go into hypnosis, every time you go into meditation, every time you put your feet on Mother Earth barefoot, every time you meditate against a tree, every time you connect to nature, every time you swim in the ocean with conscious mindfulness, every time you make love to your beloved in nature or in your room and you've sanctified the room with your presence, both your presence of love. That's quantum healing, my friends. I love how they package shit and sell it to us. Hypnosis is a holy rite of passage to recall what your soul is telling you need to know. Akashic readings is a permission to go into the realms of the infinite halls of knowledge, of memory, that is constantly alive and breathing and shifting and flowing like a calm ocean of consciousness. And I studied both, trust me. I've read both of these authors' books and their studies. And what Michael Newton talked about was, it wasn't his downloads, it was his clients. And it was beautiful. I think there are a lot of things we need to reject. A lot of them are tied to the old 3D template. And I was talking to Andromeda Flame last weekend, and we both discussed that the fact is that we're all wanting 5D. All of us want it. New Earth, 5D, please bring it on. And then I started telling her, I think the problem is we're holding on to shit from 3D. We're holding on to the holy relics of 3D. You know what I mean? It's kind of like being a Muslim going to I need to go to Mecca. I'm not trying to be like impolite or disrespectful when I say that. It's kind of like being a Christian saying I need to go to the Holy Land. The Holy Land is fucked now. Don't you see? It's no longer holy. It hasn't been holy since 1947. Why are we going there? Do you understand? I'm not. This is where political intelligence and spirituality kind of walk together hand in hand, noticing the obvious. What the fuck am I going to Jerusalem for? For what? Really? What have they done? What have they done on the holy land of this great man that walked? You know, and then the question is, why are they so hell-bent on telling us that Yeshua never left that little hamlet? That he fucking never left Bethlehem. He never left wherever the fuck they say he walked, where Jesus walked on water. No, where else was he? Because he's recorded in India and he's recorded in Tibet. Why is that such a bad thing? Oh my God. A whole religion will collapse if he didn't die on the cross. Do you understand? The symbol of the cross becomes moot. You know what the symbol of the Protestant religion is? And I'm not pushing that one either, but for a minute, let's just go there. In Europe, at least, it looks like a Celtic cross, more or less, for me anyway, and a dove at the bottom, hanging from this Celtic cross is the dove. But it's not even a cross. It's a I can't even see it right now, but it's a sacred geometry. I'll say that. That's how I'll describe it. And from it hangs the dove. My point is, I had a dream last night. I'll share it with you, where we were taking off the cross off our necks. I'm not joking. We were putting it down away. We were melting it down, these crosses of gold, and we were reforming them into sacred geometry. That was my dream. Because why are we so hell-bent on, saying that this human being didn't have a right, couldn't be spiritual, couldn't be powerful, couldn't be a master, an avatar, a yogi, an ascended master on this planet? Wasn't that enough? No, he had to die. He had to be tortured and die. And these women, these great high priestesses that were able to alchemize his wounds, heal him with sacred herbs and sacred chants. That couldn't happen? No? Okay. Okay. So let's limit us to just the pedestrian story of this horror, and then still sinning. He died for our sins. Okay, why are you sinning? Why are you fucking with children? Why are you still fucking your brother's wife? Why are you a fucking thief? As a pastor, not giving, for example, not hanging up, teaching your whole fucking little what would they call it? Your little group of people that follow you as a pastor, as a preacher, hanging up on a woman asking for one fucking can of infant formula. Because you're not part of the congregation, you're not part of us. You gotta belong to the cult to get a can of formula. The collapse of these horrific, monstrous institutions are collapsing. And because they're collapsing, if you've listened to me when I talk about the Cathars and the book by Elizabeth Clare Prophet on Jesus and his journeys and Mary Magdalene, right? Once you start putting two and two together, this is good. This is why I read this book, that book, and then I go, because I'm literally mapping out what the fuck happened. Of why the divine consort, in this case the sacred union, had to be destroyed, It had to happen. And why these religions that have been all powerful for 2,000 years, 1,500 years, depending on which one, right? 3,000 years, depending on which one. The Abrahamic tree of control. We're Thanksgiving, right? Okay, well, you got Protestants coming on this soil, treating these incredibly holy people, Native American indigenous people, who had a sense of connection with God. They were more God-fearing, God-loving, than the people who wore their little puritanical hat, who thought they were superior to these, people, indigenous people. And literally slaughtered them without even a second thought. Raped them, slaughtered them, didn't give a fuck. Because you don't believe in our God, not, so, do you see, the New Age is something that has been polluted. Because to control people, you have to control what they believe in. And so the New Age community is a farce. It's a joke. And I've said this before, that many of the New Age, the big influencers, are fucking on the payroll of nefarious forces. They don't want you to ascend. They don't want you to become transcendental away from your beloved eternal consorts. Because if you are sold on the fact that you will, in 2027, you'll all come in union. If that isn't sold to you as hope, and you sit there waiting, not doing, but waiting, then they have you. My job as a coach, as a hypnosis, as an Akashic reader, but my job when I coach clients who have an eternal consort, you know what my job is? To fucking, not to turn their back on their love, but to learn how to master themselves, to live an incredible, exceptional life with or without their eternal consort. That's the job. Nothing less. And that's mastery. And once you master that, you're not a master of this shit anymore. Whether you see it happening, the red carpet, or let's put it that the green carpet and new earth comes at your feet, or you drop your body and you get to enjoy it on the other side, and you get to see that your family members, your friends are enjoying it in this incarnation, and you've dropped your body and you get to see it, and you're like so happy for them, but you're also free. And now you are with your eternal consort because they and you are freed from the shackles of these avatars that were always very too dense. I think it's extraordinary. It's an extraordinary journey of courage. And it's a faith that goes beyond your day-to-day life. And you should, try to have meetings with God. It's good to have galactic council meetings, of course, but also ask for the one of 1,000 names. Ask for the meeting and see what happens, see what becomes. We're supposed to help each other. We're supposed to help each other so that we don't need a key for the lock of our chains, because the chains dissolve and disappear. No one can do that for you. Like, I can't go into your brain and make you open your third eye and activate your chakras and make you believe. I can't force you, but people like me need to be more diligent in helping other people who are suffering out of their suffering so that they can accomplish what they were born to do. And they were not born to just sit, suffer, and howl for the loss of their eternal consort. That was never the goal. The activation is necessary with your person. 23 and above. Wow, that's very cool. So, does that make sense? So, it's really more about, using terms that are ancient and that are evocative to your soul, and moving away from the machine that has taken over. It is a bonded soul pact. And it was a pact made out of love, and it wasn't a pact made with, okay, well, you and I, it's just going to be you and I. It wasn't like that. It was just effortless. It just was like breathing, like waking up and realizing that this soul was more important than any soul in any realm, in any universe, in any reality. Why? Because you were like intertwined and separate and intertwined energetic fields of consciousness. And then came the incarnations in various realms, planets, and realities. and the joy, the nectar of being together, of enjoying, of bonded ceremonies throughout the timelines, and eventually coming into this planet when it was still absolutely beautiful, when it was still in 5D. Never forget, this planet was 5D before it fell into 3D. We didn't come here because we were being punished. We came here during the golden age of Atlantis, of Lemuria. And then something happened that was imported from other draconian conscious beings. And as I've said before, I truly believe that our rising out of the ashes of ignorance is the final battle that will catapult the entire system, universes, into a consciousness of 5D. And what I mean by that, of love. And the inability for the kind of evil that we have accepted as a polarity that was never to be accepted. The kind of evil that exists on this planet right now and other planets is not to be born. It's not to be accepted. It's not to be sold as a package deal of polarity. Not ever, but definitely not anymore. That's why you're hearing shit on how people are being treated right now, okay? That are absolutely unhinged evil. Unhinged shit you knew about the rack, and you knew about people being burned alive, the witches burning and this and that. You knew about the torture systems that were in place in the Middle Ages. You knew all about that. But guess what? You're hearing shit that is so fucking evil. In real time, unlike the Middle Ages. Those were stories that came down trickling a year after the, horrors that came down through stories. A year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years after it had happened, right? But now you're hearing these stories in real time. In real time. A week after, an hour after, as it's happening. And that is shifting the consciousness of many. And so the purpose of your eternal consort and your purpose to them was always, it's a trigger switch. They're saying it's a dead man's switch. It's a do or die moment. It's today, in this incarnation, you will be together. You will have opportunities to be together. If you end up together in union, fantastic. But the main part that you must understand and accept is that it was the trigger switch to activate you, because no one else on the planet could do it. They could trigger your harm. They could trigger the destruction of your root chakra. They could completely annihilate your third eye, at least in this incarnation of illusion. But your eternal consort, that bond, was the only one that can do what no one else can do, will ever be able to do. And so here you are. The Great Awakening is rippling through you. Sometimes rippling through you, sometimes it feels like a fucking tsunami, waves after waves of it. Understand why, understand how, and understand what you're supposed to do with that. And it's not a waiting game. Oh my God, when he comes back, I can go. I had a man who was incredibly healing. He had the healing touch. He was humble, but he knew how to heal. He also worked with horses. He had a ranch. And his beloved was enmeshed in one of these fractal, poisonous religions, Christian religions, right here in America. And she was playing the masculine game. She was shut down on so many levels, it was insane. And he said to me time and time and time again, in fact, her inability to see him, to choose him, destroyed him. He literally lost fucking everything. He became homeless. I'm not joking when I tell you this. Because he was waiting for her to wake up, to choose him for his great healing. Now, when he did have his possessions, his house, his horses, and all of that. I kept saying, but you can help men, you can help vets, you can help children, you can help them. You just keep going with your mission. He refused. It wasn't I can't. It was a refusal. It was a fist to God saying, fuck you, I want her, or else I'm not doing shit. That's not how shit works. And so he went through the tower moments of his own self-destruction. Why do you think I do what I do? I've seen people get the big C because of this shit. It's not easy. But coaches, some of them are finally saying that you need to be in union. And though, yes, I was in union towards the latter part of his life, right? And I had lived with him for years, okay? I would say to you that there are judgments that you're going to have to make as you listen to coaches. If I'm too hard for you, find someone else. I always love the truth served warm, hot from the breath of knowledge. I don't want to be massaged. I want the truth. I want the truth now. I don't want to have that talk later on. I don't want to massage the talk. I don't want to adorn the talk with softness and perfumes and low voices. I want the truth. Maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you want a packaged 7-day cruise before you can, adjust to the truth. The truth is, you weren't born to fucking wait for your twin to wake up. But it is your duty to send books and knowledge to your twin, to your beloved, to your eternal consort. It is your job to read a manuscript of knowledge, of deep esoteric knowledge, and to say, Joe, right now I'm about to, and Joe's not in the room. Joe's like with another woman, or Joe's in another country, or Joe's ghosted you. You go, Joe, I'm about to read the book called The Lost Years of Yeshua, for example, or The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, or The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer, or Journey of Souls by Michael Newton, or you get a book from Carlos Castaneda. Everything, every word I read, every word I hear, you will hear. You remotely intend, you scatter seeds of consciousness and awakening towards your twin, your beloved. Whenever I use the word twin, I cringe. That's how fucked that word has become. Before I knew that word, I would sign off my letters to my beloved, your eternal consort. And I don't know why I segued into that fucking bastardized word. Why did I fucking embrace twin flame? I'm almost embarrassed. You're not going to see me take my videos down because they're there and they are important to people. But shit, I never said twin. I always said your eternal consort. Towards the end, I said to him, you are my eternal consort, and I am yours. I am and will always be. Nothing can change that. No one, nothing. You are my eternal consort. And he smiled because he knew. Because this was a holier way a more sacred way to describe this, what this is. What do I tell my clients? Whatever you fucking do, don't ever tell your man he's a twin flame. Do not fucking do that, because he will go down the rabbit hole and he'll listen to these motherfuckers and he'll think like you're a fucking kook. He'll think you're crazy. Because he will come across these cults, these twin flame cults, becoming multimillionaires over the ravages and the massive mental breakdowns and vulnerabilities of people asking, begging for answers, or even looking, I want my twin, I don't have one, I don't know who he is or who she is, I want to find one. Find one? What are we looking for? A gold ring in the world? What is this, Lord of the Rings? You don't find one. You're either born with one or you're not. You're either going to be in some level of meeting, which has been predetermined, divine appointments in this incarnation, or you're not. People don't even understand the term divine appointments. Preset appointments to meet certain people before, and this is agreed before you're born. Hello? You don't, they think it's a cachet. It's like having a Birkin bag. You're on the wait list. Eventually you'll get the color you want. It's not a handbag. It's not an accessory. It's a soul. It's basically it's a soul connection that returns in the right timeline to destroy what you thought was reality, and to destroy your false personality, your protective veneer of who you think you are, constantly challenging you. And sometimes it's toxic, or it appears to be toxic. It's a boot camp of the highest level of literally tearing down your ego. And most people don't survive it at all. And I mean that quite, this is not a metaphor. They do not survive it. It's not a joke. And the mission is what you are propelled to desire to do. Your desire is your sign of what you're here to do. Whatever that is, taking care of kids, being a foster mom, saving dogs, saving horses, saving dolphins, saving a tree not to be cut down, a tree that's 1,000 years old, advocating for the right of Palestinian people to exist, a right, advocating for people who are being slaughtered in the Sudan, writing, editorializing, and just being a voice and being a huge voice in the community about human rights infringement, balancing the gender wars, protecting the gay rights to be married. Can you imagine where we've got this on the table? Where I mean that a man that loves a man is not allowed to be married, to not have all the protections and all the perks to be married. You know what I mean? The insurance that comes with it, the protection of inheritance that comes with it. Do you understand what happened during AIDS? What these men went through? They were. I've talked about it at length. If you follow me, you've heard me say it. Your mission could be overturning again Roe versus Wade, meaning basically going after these motherfuckers. Going, I don't think 9-year-old girls should have, be forced to have a pregnancy. Having the rights of immigrants to come here when we fucked the countries over. There was a nurse. I forgot what country she's from, man. Fuck. She was a black nurse who'd been here 30 years, who'd been tortured in her original country, got here. Beautiful woman. Got to this country, right? Married, had children, is a nurse. And she was grabbed by Ice Cube and sent back to the country that tortured her. We have no idea what happened to her. That could be your mission, to talk about it. You don't have to do videos on this woman, or videos on female circumcision, or video. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be kumbaya. Let me put my healing hand on you. Let me wear a bindi, and let me have, let me wear robes and smell like sandalwood and patchouli and come that's not it. It's not a circus. It's a devotion to something that keeps you up at night, and where you are so fiercely passionate about it. That is your mission. That's how missions work. It could be being an architect and building beautiful dwellings that are like Rudolf Steiner, like like round and rounded, and using the concept of Vatsu living, which is Vedic living. It predates Feng Shui, for example, and doing videos and showing people how to live, how to build a house that looks like it was built 3,000 years ago, and yet, oh my God, what an incredible house. Missions are not what you think they are. Missions are your passions. Even how we live, in what type of buildings we live into, what type of materials we use, like straw bale houses, is a healing modality for us as human beings to change even the way and how we live, what kind of dwellings, what kind of lighting, what kind of, you get what I'm saying? The curvature of a house. Instead of a square box, it's rounded, like an adobe, for example. And the concept of creating gardens. You see what I'm saying? That's a mission. And not needing your beloved, your eternal consort to be there right there at your heel. Oh my God, I need him, I need her, or else I can't do it. Gotta be there. I gotta be in bed with that. I know the nectar of that. I know the nectar of your beloved eternal consort in your bed at 4:30 in the morning, feeling their beautiful breath on your neck, and rolling over and clinging to each other and loving each other. I know that. I know the desire of it. But it cannot define every move, every breath you take in this planet while you're here. There's got to be more to you than that moment. And though that moment is the sweetest nectar of all nectars, you will have it again. And you will have it for longer than you ever thought possible. It is actually rightfully your right to have this experience. Meaning, the illusion of separation will eventually collapse into the reality of your bond. That bond can never be fractured by anyone. No one. Do you understand? And even though many of our males are actually have been kidnapped under the illusion of addictions, and the addictions are, well, I mean, I don't have to give you the list. I've told you the list many times. I've talked about it at length. That is a temporary hold. And it changes the consciousness. When you're addicted, you are no longer who you are. Even the avatar is fractured. Its temporary vessel called an avatar is fractured. It cannot understand what it's doing to self-harm, to harm you, but to also self-harm. To stay married in a situation that is destroying them. To do things that is destroying them. And there's a part of them that wants to be destroyed. I'm going to be honest. There's a part of them that wants to completely get annihilated. They don't want to be here. And they don't know how to articulate it, and they don't know why, but they know this. I don't want to do this anymore. And so they bury themselves into their addictions. So that everything stops, the great blackout of distraction. And this is very difficult for the eternal consort, the feminine, to witness. But again, remember, it's an illusion. This too shall pass. Time will annihilate. I remember my beloved smoked pot like it was a job, morning, noon, and night. That is an addiction. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't care what people say. Some people drink, and some people drink and do that, and some people drink and do all kinds of other things on top of that. It's like a layer cake of, I don't want to be conscious, right? I want to be completely unconscious. And when he realized that what was happening to his body was real, he did the last one, the last smoke, and never again. He wanted to meet God, completely sober. As sober as he could. Which he met death with incredible fucking power. He was a warrior shaman. He became the great magician of becoming the alchemist of his pain and to connect with his truest self and to allow the whole fucking thing around him, which was his body, his avatar, to burn away. And I think that what we are trying to do as the divine feminine high priestess, we are trying to get as many divine masculines, broken, toxic masculines, to realize that being at death's door does not need to be the moment of actualization. That, to be actually honest, the best thing they can do is to fight that demon inside of them and to connect with God, or whatever they call it for them, source, power, and to self-actualize while they have a very healthy, powerful avatar. But if they can't, and it's not a failure, if they can't, then we have to watch the train wreck and give it sacred space. And that is extremely difficult. And that is also a burning of egoic expectation on your part. It's the last shred of desire that was settled in 3D consciousness. Because if you're transcendental, you realize that no matter what happens to this soul, the eternal bond you have with this bond, soul, nothing on this planet can destroy it. Not one fucking thing. Nothing. Swear to God, nothing. And you will meet again. And you will be in true union. True union means no more of this 3D bullshit. None of it will impact you, touch you, and never again. That doesn't mean you can't have another love. Oh, shock. Yeah. Most eternal consorts can't even fathom that. And I trust me, you're preaching to the choir. I get it. But for some of you, there will be a choice. There will be a divine masculine brought to you if you say yes to the universe. And this divine masculine will be your companion, your friend, your lover. And what's wrong with that? Nothing. And some of you will not have that because you will refuse it, and you will be in a high priestess white flame of creating your mission, I hate to use the word mission because it's so all-encompassing, but your passions, your books, your creations of any kind. And for me, it's books, art. Those are the two things that are my passions. And allowing that to be birthed while I'm here. And the question is, what is yours? No matter what you have is something that, yeah, that's right, not everyone has it. As a matter of fact, there's a, and I laugh because we have 8 billion point something people. And I believe this, a lot of us talk about this in the spiritual group that I hang with. My Doc Holidays and I discuss that there are inorganic beings, meaning there are human beings, they look human, they are human, who have no soul. They have a personality, the avatar, but they have no soul. You have something that is reported as being something so rare that even the archangels, they're not jealous, but they envy. They wish. You have free will, you are a soul, you are a sentient being, you have traveled all these realms. There's a great scene in Blade Runner where Rudiger Hauer is dying on the rooftop. It's raining. He's got white platinum hair and he's holding a dove. Listen to that speech, because he talks about what he's accomplished. That's you. You're a human being, yes, but most importantly, you are a multi-dimensional, vibrant, energetic field of light. You are literally a fractal of God, the universe source, literally. And you were given free will, something that no other creature or energetic consciousness and light has ever been given. The archangels do what they are told. In fact, they do what they must. They do what they know they must. They don't have free will. And when the archangels supposedly fell, some of them, it twisted their souls, or their, whatever you want to call what they are, what they have, into something that was untrue. And you could say that was the birth of evil, because something just morphed, kind of like Lyme disease. I hate to say it like that. Like Lyme disease, at first it's Lyme, and then it morphs into Spirichet. And so even though the antibiotic can help it, right, for the first 3 weeks, after that it morphs. That's why there's a protocol called Stephen Buhner's protocol, which uses herbs, intelligent herbs that have a consciousness to actually kill the morphing of it. Do you understand? So on that cellular system, I guess I'm going to say, when the archangels decided that they were jealous, they morphed into something that was hard to contain. And this is my opinion. We're having a conversation. By no means am I a scholar with a chalkboard and a PhD. My PhD is my incarnations. Your PhD is your incarnations. Plato didn't have a PhD. Socrates didn't have a PhD. Herodotus didn't have a PhD. Aspasia didn't have a PhD. She was one of the great fucking thinkers of her time. Does that make us less? Is it okay to have an opinion? Is it okay to meander in our thoughts and our meditations? Is it okay for us to be druids and druidesses and to speak and to share spiritual aha moments and spiritual evolution of understanding of our purpose on this planet? I think it is. And so the purpose of these talks isn't to convince you, sell you on a widget, to have you, come to me and think I'm a guru. The purpose of these conversations is to see some activation in you so that you can actually take it to another level. Where you sit in meditation, where you sit in journaling to expand on these ideas, maybe to even bring these ideas to light to you. But they're certainly not meant to convince you of anything. It's just an offering, if you will. And conversations are so beautiful because they're offerings to each other. When we have these conversations, we offer each other another point of view. How beautiful is that? And the diversity of our race, our lineages, our culture, our religions, where we came from, languages we know, these diversities are so beautiful because it gives us and offers us a point of view that we would have never been exposed to otherwise. That's why our diversity now must be something we embrace with our whole fucking hearts. You know? And evil walks in various colored avatars. It does. And I'm sad to say that we have wonderful people on the planet, but we also have a lot more people who are not. Okay? And we can see that by how people are being treated right now as we speak. It's the 21st century. Did you ever think you were going to see what you saw for the last 2 years, and then the expansion of these African countries, and also what's happening right here in America and what's happening in England when old women 80, 90-year-old women are being arrested because they are actually fighting for peace. Did you ever think you'd see that? Did you ever think you'd see Argentina played out on the streets of America? If you don't know what I mean, look up Argentina 1970s and kidnappings. I don't care what the reason is. There's no good reason. And yeah, of course I'm sad, but meanwhile the game plays on. Like, what was the movie called? The I remember my son, who was 12 years old. They were trying to make. They wanted us to read, which we did read, and I was fucking horrified. What was it called? Fuck. It was where children fight each other in in wars, in battles from the various sectors. And they were segregated sectors by race. I'll never forget that. It was never mentioned, but there it was. It was shown. Trying to remember. Trying to remember the movie. I can't think of it right now. Where children are actually annihilating each other for their sector. Anyway, I forgot the name of the movie, the books. But I remember my son, us reading it out loud, and me going, what the fuck? That's not a children's book. What the fuck is this? I could see A Wrinkle in Time. That's when he was about 8 when we read that. That was an amazing book. But that book was the horror of human beings. And now people are always bringing up that movie, as, my DM has line. What is the name of the book you're referencing? Oh, Annabelle. The book is called Lyme Disease by Stephen Buhner, and it's known as it's called the Buhner Protocol, and people know it. And so it's called Stephen, like with Phen, Buhner. I think it's Burhner. You'll find it, and it's on. Go get it on. Go get it on eBay. But look it up. But look him up on YouTube. Okay, so you know that you're getting the right book. But that book, because my beloved got Lyme disease back in 2016. And he was on he couldn't get up. He could not get off the bed. And he had bullseyes erupting all over his body. We were lucky that he had bullseyes. But even though we lived up in upstate New York, right? And we went to ER. It was like, what time was it? I think we would have walked in by around 11 o'clock at night. I said, no, we have to go to ER. He was like, no. I'm like, no, we have to go. We have no idea what's going on. And even the ER doctor was coming up with the fucking stupid ass. I mean, some of these doctors are so fucking dumb. It's fucking amazing. But anyway, and when I say bullseyes, I'm talking about all over his head, all over his body, all over his feet, bullseyes. It looks like a red mark, like a circle. And in the middle, it's paler. And it almost looks like pus in between the skin and the flesh. Do you understand what I'm saying? So anyway, that's happening all over his head, all over his face. I'm not kidding. And he's examined by this young doctor who says, it's probably laundry detergent. And I had to put foot to ass. Foot to ass. And I was... I'm still surprised. I didn't yell. I never yell. But I was, you know how I talk. If you know me, you know how I talk. Foot to ass. Imagine that one. But calm, in a calm voice. And that's a powerful way to communicate with someone. You're saying shit they definitely don't want to hear, but you're saying it in such a sober way that they can't, there's no arguing here. And so he was admitted into the hospital. And at 6:30 in the morning, one of the older doctors, we're talking about upstate New York, some of the most, we have Lyme disease up the ass, okay? Took one look at him and said, Lyme disease. Didn't even fucking do blood tests. Lyme disease. So he was on the three-week protocol of antibiotics. And I was doing research like a mofo. I was like, what the fuck? Because I was totally into herbs. I knew herbs have a consciousness, in my opinion, obviously, right? And I bought the book. and I bought the protocol, which was andrographis, which is the king of bitters. Andrographic, make sure you get it in the capsule because you cannot take it as a powder. It's too noxious. Cat's claw, devil's claw, and the queen of all queens of herbs, Japanese knotweed, which is sold also as resveratrol. And in New York, in many of the states, it's considered a weed. In England, it's illegal to grow it or you will be fined. And yet this particular plant grows in abundance when Lyme disease is going to hit. It knows before Lyme is going to be a problem, it grows suddenly out of nowhere in abundance. Okay? And we used to, once we realized what he had, right? So I got the original tinctures, I got all that shit, and we were going through, I think I was spending like something like $75 every 2 weeks, not even, like every probably 10 days. And finally I realized we need to go and get some Lyme, some resveratrol, and AK Japanese knotweed. It's a massive antioxidant. It actually pierces the blood-brain barrier. It's one of the few because it can actually morph into your brain, this particular disease called Lyme. And so we went into the Catskills, into the rivers. We went to Vermont. I'm not joking. We went into Massachusetts, into the rivers, rushing rivers. We'd find the plant and we'd uproot the roots. We'd get the roots, which are, it's like milky white. And then at the end, it's beautifully red. It's beautiful. And then you have to dry it. And then you have to have like a chopping machine, like a wood chopping machine, because it's extremely, extremely hard to cut up. And then I got potato vodka and did my own tinctures, and we were in business. We were like in business. So that was one of the things. And again, they attack this particular weed. They attack it. Hunger Games, thank you. It was called Hunger Games. Yeah. So when my son read that, it was like, holy fuck. I'm like reading that going, what the fuck is going on here, right? Hunger Games. And that's what we're seeing now, the Hunger Games. And it turns out that in Ukraine and the rich have come in to go hunting, hunting. And you know what I mean by that. So we're there. And by the way, if you listen to David Icke, who's back on YouTube, he's been talking about this since the late 90s. I highly recommend you watch his documentary on Gaia, David Icke, where you understand how he was activated, because it's an extraordinary story how he was activated. Because he was activated, boom, within hours. He went from 3D consciousness to 5D. And I don't respect everything he says, agree with everything he says, but I do respect him as a way shower. Like, he was treated like an absolute idiot. He was treated badly. He was scorned. He was hated. He was called names since the 80s. Okay? And he was a beautiful man. If you look at pictures of him when he was young, like really young, like in his 30s, 40s, he's absolutely extraordinarily beautiful. He's got these big, big, extraordinary turquoise eyes and almost platinum hair. And what the work he does has really carved the sorrow in his face. I'm sorry. I mean, it does. When you do this work, it shows sometimes. I don't think he's working with healers like he should, in my opinion. I think he should be doing a lot of healing work. All of us who are in the healing realm should be working. Some of us can't do it because we're far from that ability. Like my dream is to live next to a place, a yoga studio. For one thing, a yoga studio would be nice, but a yoga studio that has sound baths would be fucking out of this world. When I lived in LA, I could go to any yoga studio, damn near at night, and drop a donation of $10-20 and fucking for 1 hour just go into La La Land, just totally bliss out, you know? And that is massively healing. And again, this is why I keep talking about having communities, because we need communities. If we had communities in the deep levels of nature that we all want to live in, right? Into the mountains, into mountain overlooking oceans, whatever, right? Be it Portugal, Spain, America, Africa, wherever you want to live, right? if we had communities, we could actually offer each other healing sessions that would recalibrate us. I had 2 healers come to my house. When was it? Back in the summer. And they did some body work on me, and I fucking can't tell you the incredible reset I got from that. I mean, like crying in joy. I was just like literally tears running down my face in joy. One of these healers is both of them are in Philadelphia. So if you guys live in Philadelphia, hit me up, because I will turn you on to these women. They are fucking amazing. Hit me up on any, like DM me, and I'll turn you on to them. But amazing. Damn, I'm so sorry. It's such a deeply spiritual disease. He's emaciated and demoralized. Well, if he goes on this protocol, okay, and we put him on the so one of the things besides the tinctures, just so you know, let me continue since this is a concern for you and Nabella. One of the things we also did, we would do teas with the Japanese knotweed. So we would boil the tea, right? And we would let it steep for a whole day until the water turned a beautiful beet, comment on dit, attends une minute. It wasn't like a beet red, which is more of a purple tone. It was more like a maroon red, okay? It was a maroon red. And then he would drink those teas. He would drink probably 2 quarts a day of that tea and the tincture and the protocol I just told you, okay? And he did that for 18 months, and it was gone. It was gone, okay? But then he got bit by a tick again. Years later, he got bit by a tick again. And at that point, we were in separation. And I think he got bit by many ticks, to be honest with you. And we were in separation. And he didn't have the wherewithal to take care of himself. So part of what happened with the brain, with the non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, brain cancer, is that you never know. I know that there are a lot of reasons why this particular cancer is explosive, and with the pesticides we're using, and I'll give you an example. Look, okay, I'm going to give you an example of how land resets itself. So when we moved into this property, we found traps. So they were trapping foxes and things of that nature. We, of course, threw them in the trash. And we also did not see hawks or eagles for 1 fucking whole year. And then what happened is that we didn't use any pesticides. We didn't use any rat poison. We didn't do any of that. None of that. None. And I didn't see any bees, maybe 20 bees in a whole summer, which is weird. And then suddenly, the following summer, after he had passed, we saw hawks and bald eagles and owls all the time. And we started seeing a huge amount of bees coming into the land, right? On the flowers that we'd planted, things of that nature, making sure it was non-GMO organic seeds and so on. And suddenly, the land thrived. There were mice, there were rats, which would be caught by a hawk or any other bird of prey. And suddenly we saw foxes, and we lost chickens to the foxes, and we didn't harm them. We didn't put out poison or things of that nature to kill foxes. We figured that the payment to living here in union with these beautiful animals was that we'd lose chickens sometimes, so we made sure that the chickens were safe. Does that make sense? It hurt my heart because I love those girls, but we lost them, okay? But I wasn't going to start going on a revengeful Elmer Fudd type of fucking attitude about, laying out some shit to harm innocent sentient beings. And suddenly we started seeing cubs, bears come on the property and playing. And it was because everything was safe. It was safe. There was no harm here. No harm would be done on any of the animals. And then I realized how human beings are so fucked. I remember standing in line to get chicks, right? And this young woman in her 30s saying, yeah, there's a mother, she said the word mother fox killing my chickens. And I'm like, no, she's not killing your chickens like that. And I won't go into details. And and I put out some poison. She said mother fox and poison in the same breath. And I wanted to rip I was like, I'm going to be arrested. I'm going to be fucking arrested. And I had to take breaths because I was like, you can't talk to someone that dumb. You can't talk to someone that dumb. So how do you protect your chickens? Well, you have a fucking huge coop made out of wire, and they still get the sun, but they're enclosed and it's hard to get to them. That's what you do. Or when you let them out, you're there. You're there taking care of them. Why do you think people have dogs that are trained to just watch the chickens and take care of them so they're not, they don't become prey? So the lamb began to show itself, and we began to see flowers that we'd never seen before, because no shit, the pollination of bees. And I looked at my son, a couple of going, wait, I don't remember this. I don't remember this bush of flowers here last year. Like it wasn't here last year. I go, are you sure it wasn't here last year? Because that's incredible. Sure enough, we had them all over. They're called asters. Purple. They look like purple marguerites with a yellow center. They were everywhere. We didn't have them last year. It was because of the pollination of the bees coming back. I'm sure of it. So there was like the earth came back. This little plot of land came back. And that's what 5D is. It's like righting the wrongs. It's like leaving things to be. And Japanese knotweed is hunted down like a weed when it is actually used as cosmetics. It's used as an antioxidant for your internal and your organs. It's a healer. And yet it is hunted down like it's shit. And it grows like from a stalk that's like bamboo, bamboo. And I was telling a friend of mine, if I was a multimillionaire, I would see if we could actually take these stalks and create bamboo floorings, or, like a bamboo-like flooring, or to even weave it into material. Can it be weaved into material? And the leaves, you can use them in a salad. I don't understand how humans continuously destroy the very thing that heals us. I don't understand. It really makes no sense, at all to me. So it is what it is. Anyway, I'm going to let you go, but happy days today. Enjoy your time with your family. Have real conversations that are intelligent. If you're going to have a fight, let it be about us changing as a people, us becoming the caretakers of this planet, and us realizing that billionaires are an actual, it's the big C. It's literally a boil that needs to be popped. It's filled with pus. Billionaires should not exist. Not because I'm jealous. Trust me. I don't want to be Sam Altman at all. I have no, that's the last person I want to be like or be. I don't want his life. I don't want his life. I don't want to be him. Or Peter Thiel, whose face looks like it's melting into wax from wax. It's very bizarre how these people, they're weak. And for good men, powerful men, real men, the actual divine masculine male, to compare himself to their bank account, not to who they are, but to their bank account, saying, for me to be a valid man, I have to have $100 million, is a joke. Right? It's a joke. And why these billionaires want this system, no matter what, to exist, is because if 5D comes into full-on line, the switches are on, game over, their billions turn into sand and is blown by the wind of nothingness. In other words, they're worth nothing. Now put a spear or a bow and arrow and a Sam Altman, he's going to be fucking shitting his pants. He won't know how to fucking survive. So we've come into a time where we actually look up to weak men, and weak men are the most dangerous kind of men who have billions, and we call that success. I'll leave it there. So when you sit with your family today and be in gratitude to being at this table, a bounty of food or whatever, then ask yourself, What is the conversation we should have today? What should we talk about today that is intelligent, that will trigger people awake, not in a triggering to piss them off, in a triggering and going, oh my God, I never thought of that. That's what I ask you to do today and tomorrow, is hold them tight and realize how amnesia works. Basically, many of your family members have spiritual Alzheimer's. That's what they have. And it's not their fault, is it? You wouldn't yell at an Alzheimer patient and say, you're a fucking idiot, you're an asshole. You would say, I love you. I love you. I love you, and I know you forgot, but I love you. And I know you forgot who you are. Blessings to you, Mama Tony, on this Indigenous Day. Love you. Love you back, sister. Grateful for you, Tony, and the spark you have ignited in me and others. Thank you. That's very kind of you, VDRS. Thank you. So please do your best today. Chant beautiful energy to your food, right? As you're cooking it, if you're cooking it. Chant a Sanskrit mantra, Aham Prema. You can look on my list right here on YouTube and on TikTok. I have mantras for abundance for mantra, whatever it's called, or look up a mantra on Google or whatever, and say the mantra again and again as you're cooking. Say the mantra before you're about to eat. If you're drinking water or any liquid, go ahead and put all this energy of light and like really ignite your food, what you're drinking, with powerful crystalline ascension light codes, so that you've transmuted the food, so now it has a high frequency. So then take it on and just really enjoy your day. Enjoy this beautiful day, and just open your heart to those who are still in spiritual Alzheimer's. It's remember the Notebook, the movie at the end, you remember? Just have compassion, okay? Don't be mad at them. Love them. Sending you much love on your journey. Namaste.